So this is a video on how to fit the diesel feed to the auxiliary port on a Transit. This is going to be on a 74 plate Transit with the 70 litre fuel tank, and then it's pretty much the same for the custom. It's the same for the custom, but it depends on what fuel tank you have. So the most important thing is to check the BEM. If you Google Ford Transit BEM or Ford Transit Custom BEM, BEMM, you can download that for your age of vehicle and identify what tank you've got. And then essentially we're going to look at fitting the short straw, which is one section of this, and then the feed. The reason I'm doing it now, before I finish the van, is I'm going to be fitting underslung tanks, and I don't want to not be able to get and route the pipe where I want it to be. So I'm going to fit the kit and go from there. This is the Herbesher kit. You can get a much cheaper kit from, I think it's Custom Designs, I think it is. I've used that several times. I just happened to pick this one up on eBay cheap. No other reason. And it's got a higher quality blue cable for the fuel line as well. So as I say, you can get all that cheaper, but I did pick this one up in a deal. So this is the kit. So you've got the fuel tap, that's the Ford genuine part there, look. So you can pick up that from Custom Designs. So that's going to go in. We're going to trim that down to the depth of the fuel tank, and then that sits in, and then this piece sits over the top. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit cut down these little sections of rubber which you use with the hose clips to fit the long length pipe, and I'm going to leave that coiled up near the fuel tank, ready for when I want to feed it into probably this back right hand corner where my diesel heater and bobble heater are going to go. So we're going to go under the van. Much easier on a Transit than it was on a Transit Custom. I'm not going to put that up on blocks, but essentially if you can see up in there, that is the auxiliary feed. So we are at the back of the fuel tanks, the main sender's up there, and this is at the back passenger side. And what we're going to do is, I can't get in there at the moment, is we are just going to loosen this one and this one. That's all you need to do, is just loosen them gradually until you can get your hand in there, and then we're going to nip the top off, literally the top 2 mil off the top of that, and then clip it on after cutting the lead to the depth of the tank, because you don't want it touching the bottom. Good to put something under the fuel tank in case you do accidentally undo those, but I've done this several times before, and I'm just going to undo one at the rear to start with, and then gently loosen the front one, so it will be held in, and the fuel tank is empty. I've literally got 30 miles in the tank. So as you can see, they're really long bolts, and I've loosened those right off. I can see my nipple there now. I've just got a tree trunk thing just in case it fell any further, but it's not going anywhere. I can now quite clearly see the nipple, and you can see that you are going to literally take off that very, very top bit to the first rim, and then it clips over. So I'm going to go and get a Stanley knife, trim that off, and then we'll measure up the stick. So all I've done is connect the clip to the end of the long hose using 2 Jubilee clips, and then say I'm going to leave that taped up by the fuel tank because I don't want to use it as yet. And then I've got my straw. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of playing with the straw because obviously it's longer than the depth of the fuel tank. I know how long it wants to be, but I'll give you a show. So I'm just going to go up there with my Stanley knife and take that off. So you can see I've whipped the top off of that. Literally takes no effort at all, so be very careful. And now I'll pop in the straw, and all I'm going to do is put it in, and the fuel tank, I say, it's got about 30 miles in it, so it's just gone onto the orange. So I'm going to dip it in until it gets wet, and then I'm going to trim it off at that length, and then I set it on top. So I've trimmed it off. This is personal choice. I quite like mine short because I never run fuel. So then all I'm going to do now is pop it back in. So hopefully this comes out on the video. Pop him back in, and then once you get to the little orange plug, just give it a good push, and that is your bung in the top leg. So you can see it's virtually flush.
And then all we need to do then is get our cap, and hopefully you'll hear this. Boom. That's it. Simple as that, locked in place, and that's now the auxiliary diesel feed in place. You need nothing more than that. So as I say, if you were fitting the rest of it now, you would run it towards where you want, no further than a metre away, mount your fuel filter and pump, and then run it to your diesel heater. But as I say, I'm going to leave this coiled up now because I'm going to be fitting a water tank here, which will be another video, which will be interesting. As I say, yeah, any questions then feel free to ask, but I say that's really simple and a lot easier than damaging your main sender unit and the float and stuff like that. But again, depends on your fuel tank, so check your BEM.